How is it going, guys? Welcome to a $1,200 gaming PC build. This is one of the most requested gaming PC builds that I've been asked to do in a very long time. I haven't been really doing these higher end builds recently, you know, 1200, 1500, 2000. Let's try to get back to those along with the multi-regional videos. All of that's coming in the near future. With that being said, let's get right into this video with the CPU. For the CPU of this build, I went with the Intel Core i5-4690K 3.5 GHz quad-core CPU. Originally, I was going to go with the i7. I figured let's just go with the i5, save $100, put that towards the GPU, and I think that was the better option, to be honest. The i5-4690K is still an absolute beast when it comes to gaming. Overclock this bad boy with a decent CPU cooler. Even a lower-end cooler like the Hyper 212 is going to get you up there at 3.9 to 4.1 GHz, so this is a great CPU for $240. Absolute beast in gaming. All the latest titles recommend usually a quad core. Some are even stuck back in the dual core days, but this is an absolute beast. Overclock it a little bit, and this is like one of the best gaming CPUs that you can buy right now. The i7's nice if you're going to do things like video editing and live streaming, but solely for gaming, this thing is an absolute monster for the price point. Also, this thing can also do video editing, just not up to par with the i7, of course, because it doesn't have hyper-threading and all that kind of jazz, but still, fantastic CPU for the price. Moving on to the motherboard, I went with the MSI Z97 gaming motherboard. Now, this is a very high-end motherboard for about $175. I figured let's just go with it for the budget. This has a lot of upgradability options and a lot of great features. USB 3, SATA 6, of course, supports up to DDR3 3300. It's obviously the LJ1150 socket, so you can go for a Core i7 in the future if you want to. Also supports Core i5, Core i3, Pentium, Celeron, all that stuff. Obviously, you're not going to be getting a Pentium or Celeron if you're buying a $175 motherboard, but I digress. Can go for a Crossfire configuration, has 4 RAM slots. I can go on, just an all-around awesome motherboard. Yes, it's pricey at $175. Could we have saved $50 and get something a little lower end? Yeah, but this is a $1,200 build, so you might as well get a really nice motherboard, and it's from MSI. Their Z97 boards are awesome, and yeah, like I said, this is loaded with features, loaded with ports, and it's just fantastic. USB 3, 4 USB 3 ports, 2 USB 2 ports, an HDMI port, 2 display ports, so, you know, this thing's absolutely loaded. Highly recommended. And right now on Newegg, I don't know when this promotional offer ends, you actually get a free SteelSeries mouse with it if you buy it right now on Newegg, so that's a pretty good option as well. Get a free SteelSeries mouse. SteelSeries makes some great products. I actually have a SteelSeries headset, and it's fantastic, so that's nice too. $175 and a free mouse. I'll take it. For the RAM, I went with G.Skill Ripjaws X Series 8GB, 2 4GB sticks running at 1600 MHz, $87. Yes, pricey for 8GB of RAM. Like I said, the motherboard has 4 RAM slots, so you're going to be able to go for a 16GB configuration in the future, or a 12GB configuration, whatever you want to. I could have gone 12 or 16 in this build, but I just figured, you know, gaming is still the priority in a $1,200 build, so 8GB is going to be perfectly fine for gaming, and then video editing, yes, it will slack behind, say, having 12 or 16, but it's definitely not going to be impossible to do if you want to do video editing, live streaming, and things of that nature. 8GB is still perfectly fine, and like I said, the motherboard's absolutely loaded with features, so if you want to go for a 16GB configuration in the future, the option's definitely open. For storage, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB. That's going to be your main storage drive. You're going to keep all your games, movies, and all that kind of stuff on there. And then for the SSD, I went with the Samsung 840 EVO 250GB solid-state drive. The Caviar Blue is $55, and then the Samsung 250GB SSD is $130 right now. A really good price for a 250GB SSD, guys. That's a fantastic price point for a really solid SSD. I actually have the same SSD, but the 120GB model. Fantastic solid state drive, and for $130 I think I spent about $115 on my 120GB about a year and a half ago, so solid state drives are definitely coming down in price, and it's definitely a viable option to get in a lot of builds now since the price is becoming really acceptable. It's still not up to the point where you can just buy an SSD and then forget about a hard drive all entirely unless you have the money to spend for a, you know, a 1TB SSD. I believe those cost about $500. If you're on a you know, a limited budget, you know, $1,200 is a decent amount, but you definitely don't want to spend $400 or $500 on an SSD. Still pick up a 1TB hard drive, and that's going to be your main storage drive. But the SSD with 250GB, you're going to be able to put a lot of key applications like Battlefield, and, you know, the games you play the most, the applications you use the most, say Sony Vegas, stuff like that. That's going to make the integrity of your machine a lot better. For the graphics card, I went with the XFX Radeon R9 290 4GB Black Edition Double D video card. Double D isn't what you're thinking, it's double dissipation for those of you that don't know. $390 right now after a $30 mail-in rebate. Really solid graphics card for 1080p gaming. Hell, at 1440p, this thing is still a monster with 4GB of video buffer. It can run most titles at max settings at even 1440p. Obviously, games like Metro Last Light and Witcher 2 with Uber sampling, that's not going to fly, but, you know, this graphics card is an absolute monster for $390. Really, at this price point, there's nothing competing with it that's even close. I mean, the GTX 780 is comparable to it, but the 780 is like $510, so this is a way better option in my opinion. And like I said, it's the XFX double dissipation model, so you can overclock it fairly easily, and this thing's an absolute monster. Also, you're getting a couple free games from AMD's gold tier of games. I've spoken about that a lot, but $390 getting 3 AAA games with it for free seems like an all-around good value to me. For the power supply, I went with the Corsair CSM 750 watt, 80 plus gold certified semi-modular power supply, $105. Yeah, it's 750 watts. I figured let's just get something pretty high end that's going to be able to power the build and give you some upgradability options in the future as well. And it's gold certified, so this power supply should last you a very, very long time. If not forever. I mean, 8 to 10 years seems pretty doable. And Corsair makes great power supplies. I hear a lot of people talk crap about Corsair power supplies. I've used a couple in my PCs, and they've all worked fantastically. And this is a gold certified PSU, so expect good things out of this one. And it's 750 watts, more than enough to power this build. Finally, for the case, I went with the Cooler Master Half XM, the black. It's a ATX mid-tower case. We could have gotten a full tower case, but I just figured let's not spend, $140 on a case. Let's just get a solid mid-tower, and this is going to work really well. This is $80 after a $20 mail-in rebate, and it seemed like a good fit in the build. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Remember, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment. Comment with your suggestions for future videos and your recommendation and your requests, and I will talk to you all later. Peace.